What's going on, guys? So today we have I don't know if you've seen this video. It was a video that was released by the US military. They had shot a Hellfire missile at a UAP. I don't know if you've seen it. It's been out for a while, so you know it's not anything new, but I just wanted to get it out there in case some people have not seen it, don't know about it. It's very interesting. It's very interesting that the military and the the government are discussing this and released it to the public. You know, you got to think like 5 years ago they would have laughed. I don't know what you're talking about. There ain't nothing out there. No. So you know, as time goes on, we get cell phone cameras that's got cameras on them that are just insane. You know, you can record about anything anymore. So there's kind of really no hiding anything anymore. It's just getting better and better. So I say by 2030, I say the government will come out with a lot more than we know now. Probably something that'll blow our mind. I want to think that we'll know that aliens exist. I believe there's no doubt about that. I believe in them. You ain't got to convince me, but I think that they will finally come out because there's something, an event that'll happen that there's just no denying it anymore. I guess it's just there. But all right, let's get into this video. So the beginning of this video, they show, the missile and everything. So we'll get into that. Let you check it out.
I want to queue up a video that I've been given. And as before it starts, I'm going to describe, this was taken October 30th of 2024. This video is of an MQ-9 drone tracking an orb, or this object, off the coast of Yemen. You'll see that another MQ-9 launched a Hellfire missile. You cannot see that drone. And so I'm not going to explain it to you. You'll see exactly what it does.
Let's look at that. Hold on. We gotta go back now. You want to see that again, just like I do. So there is the Hellfire missile. That is fired from another Reaper drone, and this one here is recording the object, tracking it. Now, if it notice the screen looked like it got bright and it says laser, I'm pretty sure it was laser designated, so it had been for that to be locked onto. That's why the screen was kind of like night vision. When you turn on a red light on a camera at night, it gets real bright. I think that's kind of how that worked. Let's see how this goes here. Now it's hitting right now. Boom. So it hits, ricochets off. Now you can notice, okay, that missile's flying crazy. This is the original object. There's one, two, there's three objects there now. See them? So one there, one there, one there. These three objects, they wanted to say was debris. So I don't know what the shape of this thing, it looks like it kind of changes, which you know how some of those do change shape as they're flying. And you've seen some where they will sit and the three orbs or whatever will come into it and then it takes off, or they come out of it. So this must have been like the central little object that the little drones come from, and it knocked them out. Because if you notice, they keep right on flying with it. All right, let's get into the rest of the video, and we'll get back to this. This is
when it's zoomed out, so you can still see it traveling.
Where's this? Let me find a spot. Come on, right there. You can still see the little one of the little objects still flying with it.
So, Mr. Knapp, do you have you heard about events like this occurring, and what information might you have?
I have heard about events like this. I have heard about this event. Jeremy Corbell and I talked about it in one of our episodes a while back. We did not have the video, though. There are servers where...
I want to stop this just real quick. If you guys watch my channel and you watched my last video, this is the man that was describing the wreck that happened out at Area 51, just so you know.
There's a whole bank of these kind of videos that Congress has not been allowed to see, that the public hasn't been allowed to see. Occasionally, some of that stuff gets out in the wild and it comes our way. It should be going to you. You know, the public should be seeing this stuff. And why you're not allowed to, I don't know. But that's a Hellfire missile smacking into that UFO and just bounced right off. And it kept going.
It kept going, and it looks like the debris was taken with it.
Yeah, what the hell is that? What
debris?
So
flies like that?
again, I'm not going to speculate what it is, but the question is, you know, why are we being blocked from this information consistently? I want to ask this just question: how in the world? This is the document. I want to enter this in for the record if it hasn't already been entered, Madam Chair. The document that you provided on thread 3. This is a huge file. How in the world did you smuggle this out of Russia?
Carefully.
In your socks?
And I don't think I want to be really specific about it because I might have to go back there and get some more sometime. Although,
Okay.
no, that'd be crazy to do that. Well, I took the top page signature and I carried them out on my person, but the rest of them I just distraction as well and hoped for the best. Otherwise, I'd be a citizen of Siberia.
Came to you with government possession of NHI craft and how they ultimately gained entry. Can you testify?
Hold on, real quick again. I know you guys are like, please stop. Yeah, stop stopping the video. NIH craft. Just pay attention to that. So we've went from UFO to UAP to USO to this. Just listen to that. That's just weird that they keep changing the terminology.
To the veracity of that claim?
Dr. Lekatsky is an honorable man who served most of his career with the DIA, a very trusted, high-level rocket scientist and intelligence analyst who inspired the OSAP program, as I said earlier. And in full disclosure, I've co-written 2 books with him. He dropped this on myself and our other co-author out of the blue. And it took 14 months for us to get DOPSR approval for him to release 2 sentences on that. He said this craft, we had managed to get inside of it. It had no wings, no rotor, no tail. It had no fuel tanks. They didn't know how it flew or how it was operated. It clearly looked like it was aerodynamic, but he would not go further. He's a by-the-book guy, and until he gets clearance to say more about that, I don't think we're going to hear much more. But it's not ours. It wasn't ours. We didn't make it. We didn't know who made it and how it was built and how it operated. We've got at least one. And I don't know, I think that's enough confirmation that we do have recovered discs and materials.
Lastly, Mr. Borland, in the classified realm, have you been exposed to undeniable confirmation of NHI technology? And then my second question is BASE Systems involved in any way with reverse engineering exploitation of non-human intelligence craft?
Non-human intelligence. NHI, non-human intelligence. Why do they keep changing the names of this stuff?
Yeah, we're gonna have to have a conversation this Skip for that. Whether I'm legally even allowed to answer that, and whether.
Yeah. So when you start off like that, like I don't know if I can legally say it. You're already full of shit. You know the answer, and you just don't want to get in trouble or whatever. So that right there tells me you clowns are doing shit you ain't supposed to be doing with technology that you didn't create.
You're even allowed to hear it, sir.
See?
Okay. Again, you can sense our frustration. And so I just want to thank you for coming forward. We will continue to fight because, look, this is about making sure that this government belongs to the people.
That's right.
And restoring the republic the way it was intended to be. Madam Chair, I also have further witnesses of courageous individuals. It was given to me by Dr. Stephen Greer, including Michael Herrera and his testimony. We have Roderick Castle and his testimony, Randy Anderson, his testimony, Stephen Digna, and others, 3 others, all saying similar things to what the witnesses today have said, and I would like to enter that into the record as well.
No objection.
You know, at this point,
I think it's clear from the hearing that there's advanced technologies that are taking place in our airspace. You know, the question is, and I posed it in one of the previous hearings, is it ours, is it theirs, or is it otherworldly? There may not be a silver bullet at the moment, but when you look back through the hearing and the evidence that's been presented, if you're going to point the American people to one piece of evidence to start their journey on this topic, what would you suggest, sir?
One piece of evidence, I would start with this hearing, in the first hearing. There is no evidence.
But is there a specific, exactly, but is there a specific evidence or footage or document that you think lends extreme credibility to what we're discussing today?
I would say this new video we're seeing today is exceptional evidence that we're dealing with something.
With the kinetic?
Yes.
Mr. Wiggins?
Sir, I'd have to say that
Oh my God. I don't remember. It's been a while since I've watched The Simpsons. Is it Chief Wiggins? Is it Wiggum or is it Wiggins? We got a black Chief Wiggins. If it's Wiggins, oh my God, what's the chances of that?
if just the average person here in America looked at absolutely everything that has come across television, the internet, etc., you can't tell yourself that 100% of what's being recorded is fake or false. You have to, at some point, understand that there's something else out there.
Well, I mean, and you bring an interesting point. You know, in the law enforcement community, anytime you're conducting an investigation, you're always looking at the totality of the circumstances. You're looking at all the evidence and how they piece together. And so that would be my, advice to the American people, that this is a journey that is just beginning from a congressional perspective, but you have decades of data, some of it not real, much of it is, but thanks to Chairwoman Luna, we're now presenting this to the American people. And I think this latest video from Mr. Burleson is something that should get everyone pause. When you see the 3 orbs that drop, was that in a defensive posture, or was that in an offensive posture? And what capabilities did those orbs have that we, quite frankly, may not have?
I think you would know if they was in offensive posture, because obviously their technology surpasses ours. So do you not think that their weapons wouldn't? So if they wanted to do damage, I'm pretty sure you would know. It's not, if they was in defensive mode, I mean, I don't even think that shell would have even hit the object. I don't know, but I think you would know the difference in where they stand. Obviously, if they've been around for thousands of years, you see it painted on walls, you see it depicted in tablets and old books and everything. Obviously, if they wanted to do something to us, they would have already did it. So in my opinion, I don't think they're here to do us any harm.
Mr. Knapp?
As I mentioned at the beginning of my remarks, what hooked me on the story was the paper trail, these documents that shouldn't exist. We've been told for decades, over and over, there's nothing to it. It's not a threat. You can go about your business. And then when FOIA becomes the law of the land, thousands of pages to the contrary leak out. There's a memo by General Nathan Twining in 1947 when the country was being overflown by dozens of UFOs, hundreds of UFOs, in which he said, look, this is not visionary or fictitious, it's real. These things are craft. They're not ours. They outperform anything we've got. I mean, if you follow the paper trail of documents that they wrote before the military got wise and realized that FOIA really exists and changed their tune and not put things in writing, it spells it out pretty clearly. I'll go refer back to Russia. One incident I did not mention to Representative Burleson is Colonel Sokolov in that Ministry of Defense program said there were 40 incidents where Russian warplanes were sent to intercept UFOs. And they were ordered to fire on them. And for the most part, the UFOs would zip away. 3 of the pilots, though, did fire at these things. Those 3 planes stalled out, crashed. 2 of those pilots died. And after that, the Russians changed the standing order. If you see a UFO, leave them alone. No country in the world wants to say and admit that these objects are flying around in our airspace and there's nothing we can do about it. I mean, who wants to say that? The U.S. certainly doesn't, and the Russians didn't either.
And I've got to be almost out of time, but Mr. Berlin, then you, sir, real quickly.
Yeah, to be honest with you, I think Bob Lazar, and not for the reasons that most would talk about, mainly because Bob Lazar was immediately discredited. They said he never worked where he worked. They said he never did what he did. But yet Bob Lazar showed up with a bunch of friends and a video camera and was filming these test flights in the middle of the desert. So clearly he knew something.
Is that right? Yeah, a lot of people think Bob Lazar's nuts. Honestly, I think the man's really did what he said. I think he really worked there. I think he really experienced it. I mean, he's stuck to that same story for what, 20, 30 years now or something like that. So, I mean, time will tell, you know, as always, time always releases everything. Doesn't matter. But anyway, that's kind of, you know, interesting. You know, I think this was in Turkey or something, but it was our drones that shot them down, shot at it. It's just crazy to think that it just bounced off, just kept going, but it knocked those 3 orbs out of it. And that's what I've been trying to think. Like, I always thought that they like locked in, but if you watch some of these videos, when they go in, it's all like molten and it's weird looking. So it didn't look like a solid object. If you look at it, let's go back to, hold on. I will go back real quick. Where does it get hit? Right there. You see how it's changing shape? It's like blobby. And so there's a lot of videos. I'd have to find some, but you'll see like the ball or whatever, the orb or whatever it is. And then you'll see the little drone fly into it, orb, whatever. And you'll see like, they'll pause and there'll be like a crater in it. It looks like a crater, like, you know, like when you throw water, a rock into water and it creates that little crater before it splashes back out. So it's like these things fly into this and maybe the inside is hollow. Maybe it's all just molten and whatever. I don't know. But that thing's changing shape like that. And those 3 things came out of it. So they're obviously probably not locked in, but it's like they all 4 have their own consciousness or something. Because you got to think about this. You have one central object that's housing 3. So they're just in there. This thing hits it, knocks them out. They didn't stall 1 second. They didn't hesitate to fall or fly away or get knocked over here. They immediately all still fly the same direction. The same direction. So you got to think about that. They all have their own I don't know if they're ran by an AI. There's no way there's nothing flying those things. They're too small. So they're controlled by some other system. But they all have the same thought process, like 4 you know, objects of each own, their selves. It's really weird. I don't know. I don't know. It's kind of like if we had a fleet, you know, like they was talking about, if you had one jet, you had 3 drones behind you and you're all one, you know, man, I can't think today. It is too early. But anyway, you got one jet, you're the captain of it, the fleet, and you got 3 behind you. Something happens to you, they keep flying. You know, it's because each one has its own mind or whatever, its own operating system. That's kind of how this is. It's really weird, man. It's just, but it's nice to see the government finally throwing this stuff out there. It's nice to see it in the public being talked about, because 10 years ago, if you was talking about this, you was a nutcase. To some people, you still are a nutcase. I don't really care. I believe in this, always have. So, you know, it's whatever to me. But all right, guys. Well, that's all I got for you today. I'm sure that we'll see some more craziness. I do have some other videos coming up that are pretty interesting. I have one. I've been digging and digging to see if this is fake, because I don't know. But I have one that's pretty interesting of an alien body. I tell honest, I don't know. I've sat and thought, and I have no idea if this is real. But if it is fake, it's a hell of a job. That's all I can tell you. It's a hell of a job. All right, guys, I appreciate you stopping by. Peace.